Just back here again, just finished up cleaning stalls again. As you can see here, I got them cleaned out. It's a little dark to tell, but I got them cleaned up pretty good. I don't try to get nitpicky on them too bad. I just try to get mainly the wet and the wet urine spots and the poop spots. I don't like digging holes, but main purpose of this video today, I'm going to kind of talk to you about some of the benefits of straw or shavings. I have here a bag of straw. I have here a bag of shavings, and I have here some straw. So I'm going to kind of go over some of the pluses and the minuses, showing kind of, what my idea of, what I use, and then you can kind of use, your guys' own choices, and, through your experiences, you're going to come up with your own solution. But I'm just going to share with you my experiences. So I'm going to flip the camera around, and I'll be right back. Back here again. I think this is the first time I actually showed my face on the camera. Just kind of talking about the differences between straw, shavings, and a couple other choices. I used to work at, for 8 years, I used to work at a large animal event center. There's mainly horses. Sometimes there's cattle. There'd be llamas, goats, sheep, pigs, you name it, they had it there. So I've dealt with a lot of, cleaning stalls. I know a pretty good idea. I mean, that was mainly on concrete, but we did have some barns that did have, soil. And, in my experience, the straw provides a way better padding. It's fluffier. It frills up quite a bit more. The shavings are way better at absorption, and they help keep the stalls dry. That was on concrete, like I said, mainly. But in my situation, I have dirt, so I've mainly used shavings just because my wife mainly liked it. But I've found, in the winter, I try to use some straw because I think it is a little warmer, and I think that it provides a little bit, nicer bedding down for them. The straw isn't as absorbed, it doesn't absorb moisture as well. But, it does absorb. I'm not going to say it's not. And it depends on the type of straw, too. I mean, there is different types. Sometimes you get, like rye straw, oat straw. Some's fatter, some's skinnier, some's harder, some's softer. So it just kind of depends. But, for my situation here, I'm not like a big operator or anything, so it's not really that big of a deal. But when I clean the stalls, I like using a pitchfork. I think you get some good leverage. Shovels just don't really cut it unless you're on concrete. When I cleaned at the livestock center, we used snow shovels actually, and it worked really well for shavings on concrete. But like I said, everybody's got something different. Be it cows, horses, goats, sheep, chickens. A chicken coop or something like that. It just kind of depends on what you want to do and what you want to deal with. I think that the straw picks up a little bit better with a pitchfork. And another benefit I can think of straw is that when you're cleaning it and you're setting up compost piles like I am, I'm starting to get my garden going a little bit better. I'm trying to mix in some more compost and getting better about that. I think the shavings break down just a little harder overall. The straw, I think, has a little bit more of a organic. They're both organic. They're both wood. They're both byproducts. But I think that like water can get into the straw better, and it just weathers down better. The wood shavings, I mean, I guess it depends on what type of wood shavings too, because there is, fine grain sawdust, or even large flake. I think, this stuff, it doesn't really say what it is. But there is different varieties out there that you can get. In my experiences, just don't even bother with sawdust. Yeah, it's cheaper. You can get it almost free sometimes, but it's just dusty. I breathed in a lot of that stuff at the livestock center, and it's terrible. Same thing goes for the pelletized bedding. A lot of horse people try to use that. Does a good job at absorbing stuff, but once it's absorbed, it's just wet and it stays wet. It doesn't flake up, and they just stand in their urine all day. So I wouldn't even bother with that, especially on dirt. That's shavings and straw is about the best choice for dirt. Concrete, you can be a little bit more flexible. I have had experience, cleaning paper, recycled newspaper bedding, and that actually did pretty good. It was fluffy, it absorbed, but in the end, it kind of got hard to clean. Like I said, that was a shovel concrete floor situation. On dirt, it sucked. I mean, it was just terrible, and it just looked like you had trash all over the place. So, and like I said, everybody's got different animals, different things going on. But I think that, straw is a little cheaper. You end up having to use a little bit more of it. Like, see, these bales are bigger than that bag of sawdust, but that's compressed. The bedding, or the bale of straw, is compressed as well, but not nearly as much. There's a couple different things. They're both renewable. Don't let somebody say that they're not renewable. What they're getting from shavings are they're chopping down trees, they're making lumber, like these rafters up here, and all the ends and splits and crap pieces of wood, they end up splitting off into shavings like this for people to buy. The straw, it's harvested. You get the wheat and the oats and the rye, barley, you get that harvested, and it leaves, this nice, you get this nice byproduct that you can bale and really do a good job, getting it up off the field, and there's a lot of it, really. I do some hay with my dad. Thinking about talking to one of the neighbors to bale some straw this year, and am I going to say straw is the best thing ever? No. It's cheaper. I think it's better in the winter for, warmth and fluff. And as far as cleaning with a pitchfork, I think it's a little easier. If you're going to use a shovel or, for horses they have something called apple pickers. And I've used them, but I've broke way too many. They're plastic tines. They work good for cleaning turds and wet spots out of shavings. But, like I said, if you get into a wet like a wet season or mud season, they track it all in. It's just a pain. But, like I said, it just depends on everybody's situation, what you guys got going on. I can't tell you either way which is going to be better, but this is just kind of a comparison and point out some of the highlights on it. If you like absorption, I guess go for the shavings. If you like fluff and comfort and warmth, go for the straw. But some people, if you live in Arizona, you're not going to have to worry much about the cold season. I live up here in Michigan, and lately it's been warmer winters, but they're talking this one's going to be a lot colder. And I'm like I said, for my own personal reasons, I'm starting to transition into using straw more for composting and reasons like that. For my chickens, I always kind of used shavings. But in the winter time, I also, I keep my chickens outdoors. I don't put a light on them. I just kind of let them weather it through. They do fine. They do cut down their production a little bit. But overall, they do fine. And I think part of it is, adding some places for them to get warm with the straw and pack in, and they huddle together, and that's what they do. But yeah, so overall, you guys, viewers watching, really, it doesn't matter. It's manure shavings. I've heard a lot of people at the event center I worked at that was just up in arms about it. They were like, oh, I don't want to have, they thought it was down, beaten path, dirt poor to be using straw. And it's like, no, that's just a way to, there's more than one way to cook a goose. I don't understand why you would think of somebody differently just for what kind of bedding they use. And I always people were kind of weird about it, but like I said, everybody's got their own opinions and their own views. But definitely I think the straw is just a little bit more renewable, a little bit more environmentally friendly. It's you don't have to cut down a tree to get scrap pieces from lumber to get it. I mean, you're harvesting a crop to make bread and make other things like that, and you're just by chance, taking the byproduct off that. And I mean, another thing is, I don't know where the closest lumber yard is to me, but across the road there, you can see it's a freaking field of wheat. So, I mean, and actually, I think, to tell you the truth, the guy I did buy the straw from, it is that farmer. So, now that I think of that, so I mean, it's really close. You can't get any closer to that and more local. So, that's something to think about too. But everybody's situation is different. Straws. I was talking to my uncle who lives in South Carolina. Around him, straw was going for $6 a bale, and that just isn't economically feasible. Whereas the shavings would be in that situation. But yeah, so let me know what you guys' opinions are. I don't. Maybe it's not as big of a topic, but I've definitely heard a lot of people talk about it. A lot of farmers, dairy farmers. Actually, a lot of the big, corporate farms, they don't even have bedding. They just put them on concrete or rubber mats. Especially in dairy industry, they like having them on rubber mats because it's easier to clean and easier to move them around and stuff like that. But it's just how it goes. So, all right. Well, let me know what you think, and hopefully have some good conversation in the comments. And I'll be sure to post another video soon. All right. Thanks for watching. Just a little addition here. Yeah, here is how the straw fluffs up. Pretty good if you don't mind me saying. All right. Catch you soon.